Hi guys, so today we're continuing with learning target 2A, solving equations. Okay, so yesterday was pretty simple. It was one-step equations. This time we're doing multiple steps in one. Okay, so here we have the steps to solving any equation. We use the acronym SKI. Okay, so to solve an equation, use SKI. The first thing you do is you simplify. That's your S. You either distribute, okay, or you combine like terms. Okay. The second thing you do is the K. Okay, we call it killing the smaller x, but really what you're going to do is you're going to move all the x's to one side. Okay, so here you need to kill the smaller x. This only happens if there are x's on both sides of our equation. Okay. And the third thing we do is we isolate x by undoing what happened to x in reverse order. Okay, so some of you guys might be confused about what reverse order is. Okay, so normally we do order of operations, right? We do something called GEMDAS, right? But when we solve, we actually do the opposite, right? So here I have this challenge example for you to see that we actually do the opposite. Right, so here I have my variable x. Well, you can see that it's in a grouping with 5 here. It's being added to 5 in a grouping. Then we see an exponent. Then we see a multiplication. And then we see a subtraction. So to actually solve this, rather than doing GEMDAS like we normally do, to solve we go backwards. Okay, so the first thing we actually do is we add 7. Okay, so the first thing I do is got rid of that addition subtraction by doing the opposite. Since it was a minus 7, I added 7. And what you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. Then, I take care of the multiplication and division. I'm going to take care of that 2. Since this is 2 times this, I get rid of it by dividing by 2. And then, after multiplication and division, I'm going to get rid of that exponent. I'm going to get rid of that square, that power of 2. Okay, the opposite of exponent is radical. So since this is a square, to get rid of it, I'm going to square root it. Okay. Technically, there are 2 answers. I'm supposed to have a plus or minus here. But due to time, I'm just going to do the positive answer here. Okay. And once I have that grouping by itself, I can remove it. Okay, and then what we did yesterday, subtract 5 here, so negative 1 equals x. And as always, if you're scared that your answer is wrong, super easy. All you have to do is check it. You take your answer and you plug it in, right? So I'm going to do that, right? Just in case I'm scared that my answer is wrong, okay, all I have to do is plug it in, right? You see that I plugged in my negative 1 here. Okay. Then using GEMDAS, I can find the answer. So negative 1 plus 5 is 4. Exponent 4 squared is 16. Then multiplication, 2 times 16 is 32. 32 minus 7 is 25. And I see that both sides are equal. Woohoo! That means I got it correct. Okay? So this challenge example is harder than anything you're going to do, at least for this unit. But I just wanted to show you that when we solve any equation, we're actually going reverse order of operations. Okay? So let's actually get into what we're doing today. Okay? So first, like we did yesterday, we're going to identify what happened to the variable, and then we're going to undo it in reverse order to solve. Okay? So what you can see is with this first one, x was divided by 3. Remember, fractions mean division. Okay, so here x was divided by 3 and then was subtracted by 7. Okay, so we're going to do the reverse. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this minus 7. I'm going to plus 7. I'm going to plus 7. Right? This gives me x divided by 3. This negative 7 plus 7 cancels out. And this negative 2 plus 7 gives me 5. Okay. Then now I have x divided by 3 equals 5. So since this is divide by 3, the opposite would be to multiply. So I multiply by 3. Okay. This cancels out, leaving me with x equals 5 times 3 is 15. Okay. And again, if I'm scared of my answer, right, I'm scared that it's wrong, I can always plug it back in to check. Okay. So here we have the next one, right? So I have 4x plus 3 equals negative 17. So what happened to my variable? First, x was multiplied by 4, right? So 4x here means 4 times x, okay? And then after that, it was added by 3. So I'm going to go in reverse order to solve. Okay? So what I've noticed over the years is that sometimes students get really messy and then it like trips them up. Okay, so what sometimes I advise students to do is to draw a line through the equal sign so that they know this is on this side, this is on this side. So they remember what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Okay, so I'm going to start, get rid of this plus 3. The opposite of plus 3 is minus 3. Okay, this leaves me with 4x equals negative 20. Again, be careful of adding and subtracting. Negative 17 minus 3, negative 20. Okay, then this is 4 times x. Get rid of it by dividing by 4. Cancels out, leaves me with x equals negative 5. Okay. You don't have to do this line if you don't want, but especially if you end up tripping up on things, I'm going to advise you to put that line there. Okay. Next, let's try some more. Okay, this is 8 times x, and then added 2. So again, reverse order, I'm going to subtract 2. This cancels, leaving me with 8x equals negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4. Okay. This is 8 times x, so I get rid of it by dividing by 8. Okay, equals negative 4/8. And we know to simplify it, negative 4/8 simplified is negative 1/2. So x equals negative 1/2. Okay. Please make sure to always simplify your answer. Okay. Then here, let's do the next one. Okay, so this is x plus 7 divided by 3 equals 2. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that divide by 3 first. I'm going to multiply by 3. And again, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Okay. This cancels, leaving me with x plus 7 equals 2 times 3 is 6. Then the opposite of plus 7 is minus 7. Okay. This leaves me with x equals negative 1. Woo! Then here I have 3/4 times x minus 5 equals 4. Okay, so again, reverse order of operations. So we're going to get rid of this minus 5. The opposite of minus 5 is plus 5. Okay, so I have 3/4 x equals 9. Okay. And then we learned this yesterday. If you want, you can do this in 2 steps where you multiply by 4 and then divide by 3. Or what we learned is that we can clear this by multiplying by the reciprocal. Right? So the reciprocal of 3/4 is 4/3. The 4 in the numerator cancels with the 4 in the denominator, changing them both to 1. And the 3 in the denominator cancels with the 3 in the numerator, cancels them to 1. So this becomes 1x. Okay, and again, almost forgot, what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Okay. And so I can cross cancel here. 9 and 3 are both divisible by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Okay, so then 3 times 4 is 12, all over 1, so x equals 12. Okay. Then here, before you try one on your own, okay, what we're going to do, again, reverse order of operations, right? So I'm going to subtract 6 first. I get negative 5 half x. This cancels, equals negative 5. Okay. And again, you can do this in 2 steps. You can multiply by 2 and then divide by negative 5. Or, like we talked about yesterday and what we did in the previous problem, we can just do it, cancel it by multiplying by its reciprocal. The 2 cancels out with the 2, changes it to 1. 5 and 5 cancel out. And the negative times the negative makes it positive. So it's just positive 1x equals, okay, negative 5 and negative 5 cancel out. And then all that does is leaves me with 2. Okay. For problems that are especially complicated like this, if I'm scared about my answer, all I have to do, plug it back into check. Okay. So now you're going to try one for yourself. Okay. This one looks pretty complicated, right? But talk to yourself. What is happening to x? Right. Start from the inside out. State those operations and then reverse them. Okay. So here are the operations that happened to x. It was subtracted by 3, then multiplied by 5, then divided by 8, and then 2 was added. Okay, so here are your operations. Now, reverse them. Get rid of them by going the opposite. Okay. So here you go. I love this problem because there's technically so many ways to do this. Okay. So the first thing I do is got rid of the add 2 by subtracting 2. I ended up with 5 times x minus 3 divided by 8 equals 7 minus 2 is 5. Okay, then there are so many ways to do this. So one way is you can first multiply by 8, right? Or you could distribute the 5, so many different ways. Okay, but I decided to take out that 5/8 in one swoop, okay, by multiplying by the reciprocal, right? And so this takes care of the divide by 8 by multiplying by 8. Takes care of that multiply by 5 by dividing by 5 here. Okay, so that cancels out, leaves me with x minus 3 here. Okay, and then these 5 cancels out to 1, leaving me with just the 8. Then the last step, all I have to do is add 3 on both sides. I get x equals 11. And that's my answer. I can always go back and check it by plugging 11 in and seeing if it is true.